4 casamentos? 4?
4. Mas eu tinha 3 em Chicago e essa, né? Você sabia?
Não.
Brian's asking Ingrid if she knows, as if he isn't the one that should have told her that information. Like, how's she magically supposed to know that if you didn't tell her, Brian? But the thing is, as we know by now, Brian never admits that he's the one at fault. He's the kind of guy who prefers to lie and gaslight.
Tantas mentiras, tantas coisas assim que... isso me deixa na dúvida de quem que eu vou dividir a minha vida, né?
Now, before we get to the latest bombshells that Brian drops on Ingrid, let's rewind to the start. So, the last we saw the pair, they were on their beach vacation. It was a short break that was supposed to hopefully bring them closer together. Only, predictably, it hasn't. It's only driven them further apart. It's raised red flags for Ingrid, as she's now worried Brian is just looking for a carer. Does he just want a younger lady to look after him in his old age, she's now wondering. And her concern also doesn't sit right with Brian.
When Ingrid says that she didn't want to be anybody's mother or babysitter,
just kind of makes me feel concerned. What if?
I can't count on her when we are together.
If you actually fall in love, if you actually form a healthy relationship, Brian, then Ingrid probably would want to take care of you. But the fact is, because he's setting it out as an expectation so early on in their relationship, while their relationship is on such rocky ground as it is already, it makes it seem like he's just dating in order to find a nurse for himself. Sorry, but their relationship isn't deep enough for her to want to care for him forevermore, is it? Now, with his worries still ringing in his head, tonight, Brian is taking Ingrid to meet an old friend of his. A friend who also happens to share the same name.
Brian!
Hey, man.
Bro,
Hey.
give me a hug, man. It's been a while.
Ages.
Jesus, how are you?
I'm good.
Nice.
Good.
Ingrid, Brian?
Prazer.
Brian, Ingrid.
Brian, meet Brian. Yeah, this is gonna get confusing fast, so let's call this gentleman Older Brian. Now, Brian and Older Brian met when they both used to live here. They both lived in Recife, this beachside town, and Brian tells us that Older Brian was always a close friend. He was always a confidant. He was the person I'd go to when times were tough, Brian tells us, which is basically code for Older Brian knows all of my secrets.
Women like Brian. Brian's, amenable for women. I like him. Not just because of his condition, but he speaks very fluent Portuguese. He's a handsome-looking guy.
Do women really like Brian, or does he just trick them into liking him by lying? Yeah, keep that thought in your mind, because we're gonna get to that shortly, don't you worry. Now, when Older Brian asks Brian how he and Ingrid are getting along, Brian takes the opportunity to complain. What about? Well, the fact that he and Ingrid aren't sharing a room. They're not even staying in the same building. Ingrid is staying at a hotel, whereas Brian is staying in his old apartment. It's clearly a big issue for him. I mean, he brought it up immediately. But, of course, notably, he completely skipped the reason why. He didn't tell Older Brian why it is that Ingrid is so uncomfortable sharing a bed with him. But things really get juicy when Older Brian asks what their plans are for the future.
I got some things to take
Things
care
to
of.
do, yeah, I think, with your ex, then.
Yeah, for the divorce. A gente tá fazendo divorce, né? We're making the divorce, but she's not showing up.
Sorry? What? Hello? Did we skip a chapter? Where's this come from? What divorce? Brian says it so casually. Now, Brian goes on to explain that he's still legally married. I've been trying to get divorced, he tells us, but my ex-wife hasn't been showing up to our divorce hearings. Interesting. So, who is his ex-wife, and what do we need to know about her?
I met my most recent ex-wife after moving to Recife. We dated for 2 years and got married. But after a few months, I realized that she was just using me for the green card.
Look, we haven't completely ruled out the possibility that Ingrid is also doing the same. But for right now, that's not the question at hand. Now, while this might be the first that we're hearing about this ex-wife, it isn't the first that Ingrid is hearing about her. Judging by her non-reaction, this is something that Brian has been honest with her about, thankfully. But what he hasn't been quite so honest about is how many ex-wives he actually has.
Passei 3 vezes nessa.
Hã? Quantas, Brian?
3. Não. Em total, 4, né? Com a Recife.
Okay, so this time we knew that, but poor Ingrid obviously didn't have a clue. She tells us Brian only ever told me he'd been married twice. Like, the absolute balls on this guy. It takes a very special kind of guy to laugh in her face when the truth finally comes out. At this point, creepy Brian is less of a creep and more of just a plain old arse.
4 casamentos? 4?
4. Mas eu tinha 3 em Chicago e essa, né? Você sabia?
Não.
Did you know about it? No, Brian, no, that's not the question to ask. Don't try and spin this onto her. It's not her duty to find out, it's your duty to tell her. Now, understandably, this has obviously shocked Ingrid. It makes her ask the question, right? What is wrong with this guy if he can't make any of his 4 marriages work? Clearly at this point, he is the common denominator. He's the one with the problem. The thing is, little does Ingrid know, there's actually more. His ex-wives aren't the only thing that Brian has failed to tell her.
E também tinha uma mulher, 3 noivas.
Trifenses.
Sim.
4 rodas, casamento e não trifenses.
That's it, Brian. Keep going. Just chuck another lie to the pile of lies that you've been telling. And yeah, they are lies. He's lying by omission. Only, of course, Brian conveniently doesn't see it that way. He doesn't think he's done anything wrong. It's history repeating itself all over again, isn't it? He lied to her about his age, he lied to her about his criminal background, and now he's lying to her about his past relationships. Like, at this point, his track record really does speak for itself, doesn't it? This is a guy who's willing to do whatever it takes, say or not say whatever it takes, in order to try and make himself look better.
Não tinha me contado dessas noivas, desses casamentos, desse tanto de casamento.
Eu sou um livro aberto, só pergunta. Eu não mente
Agora,
nada.
né?
Sempre.
Eu tenho que ficar perguntando.
Tem que perguntar.
Oh, sorry, my mistake. Brian didn't lie. No, Ingrid just didn't ask specific enough questions. Are you kidding me? That is typical gaslighting behaviour. Just look at the guy here, right? He's laughing. He's literally laughing. How must that make Ingrid feel? He's trying to invalidate her perfectly valid questions. He's trying to turn this all onto her. He's trying to make her doubt herself, make it out as if she's at fault for not asking the right information. But the thing is, Ingrid has seen this all before, and believe me, she's not falling for his shit again.
E me diz, com esse monte de casamento aí, tu falou pra todas elas a idade certa?
Once might be a mistake, but twice, 3 times now, and it's starting to become a theme. These lies are now clearly just a part of Brian's personality. It's who he is. The guy's a liar. And Ingrid links this back to the lies he told her about being 45 years old when he's actually 51. Remember, at the time when that came out, he denied he'd ever lied. He tried gaslighting her into believing he'd always been honest with her.
Nunca tinha problema pra falar minha idade, não esconde, até tô com orgulho pra falar.
A Ingrid, eu falei pra você, minha filha tem a mesma idade de você.
So when Brian answers Ingrid's question with a yes, I've always told my exes my real age, Ingrid becomes even more pissed off. Oh, so it's only me that you've lied to, is it?
Só pra mim foi 45, né?
Não, era na internet, porque não queria mulher de 50 no meu perfil.
Wait, I thought you had no problem telling women your real age, Brian. I thought you were an open book. I thought you were proud. I thought you said you told Ingrid. Yeah, notice how he's now been caught in his lie. His story has suddenly changed. He now admits he lowered his age just a little bit so that he wouldn't match with or attract 50-year-old women. Funny, isn't it? He's a 51-year-old man who thinks a 50-year-old is too old for him. But old or not, Ingrid has just caught him red-handed.
Tantas mentiras, tantas coisas assim que isso me deixa na dúvida de quem que eu vou dividir a minha vida, né?
Remember what I said earlier about Brian tricking women into relationships? This is exactly what I meant. He's the sort of guy that lies at the start of a relationship to make himself sound better, and then tries to gaslight his way out of it when they inevitably eventually find out the truth. Now, spare a thought for older Brian, who's just sat there watching this all unfold. Our Brian, younger Brian, creepy Brian, obviously doesn't like being humiliated in front of his friend like this. So it's at this point that his entire strategy changes. He now goes on the offensive. He tries to make Ingrid look stupid. Ah, poor Ingrid, she's not the sharpest tool in the box, he basically tells his friend. If she were a little bit cleverer, if she actually knew how to count, then she would have worked it out for herself, he says.
But she tells me, mas você falou pra mim que ela não é bom com matemática. She's not good with math. I have a 31-year-old daughter. How the f I'm gonna be 45?
Oh my gosh. It must be taking Ingrid every ounce of self-restraint not to throw that drink all over Brian's face. She's now sat at a table with two men laughing at her, belittling her and supposedly her bad math. All the while knowing that it's not her who's at fault. It's not her who's the liar. Now, miraculously, somehow, she does manage to keep her cool. She tells Brian, let's not blame my math here. Let's blame the fact that you weren't honest. But the thing is, Brian isn't done with trying to pin the blame onto her. This is typical narcissistic behaviour. He's never the one in the wrong. It's always her fault. Ingrid's the one being judgmental, he tries to claim.
Casado, você é casado, você é casado, você
Ah, eu tentei. Só julgar. It's only judging. It's only judging.
No, Brian, Ingrid's only reacting to the information she's been wrongly given. That doesn't make her judgmental. If he'd been honest with her from day one, if he'd told her about his age and his criminal past, if he'd told her about his 3 ex-wives and 1 pending ex-wife, not forgetting of course his 3 further ex-fiancés, then Ingrid wouldn't be reacting like this. In fact, as he well knows, she probably wouldn't be with him in the first place. But as it stands right now, it's not his history that she's judging, it's his continuous lies.
The fact that Ingrid keeps judging me on my past shows that she's just not going to stop judging me. I mean, she's judged me on my age. She's judged me on selling drugs.
Brian's doing it again. He's having this huge pity party for himself after being called out for something he did wrong. Ingrid didn't judge him for his age, right? If she did, she wouldn't be with him now. She judged him for lying about his age. And as any reasonable mother would, she judged him for his drug-riddled past, his drug addiction and drug dealing. Sorry, Brian, but you don't get to play the pity card with that. If you choose to deal drugs, that comes with the territory. But again, as ever, Brian always has to play the victim.
Ingrid and I never had in-depth conversations about my past relationships. And she never really asked how many times I've been married, so I really haven't lied about it. But I don't understand why it matters.
This right here, this attitude, the way he tries to spin it onto her, is probably a big reason why he's had 4 failed marriages. Brian tries telling us that they never really had in-depth conversations about his past. But I'm sorry, Brian, I'm just not buying it. Clearly enough conversation was had to make Ingrid believe he'd had 2 2 ex-wives. Like, at that point, why not just tell the whole truth? Why not tell her about the 2 others? He might claim he really hasn't lied about it, it really shouldn't matter. But it does matter, Brian. It matters that you're a liar. It matters that you never take accountability. You never admit to being wrong. Brian is creepy, Brian is dishonest, and ultimately, Brian is an arsehole.